All right. Boom. We in the gym. Fucking the EJ's gym. A guide to elevate your mindset. I have a special guest with me today. Conversations with EJ's gym. I'll let my guest introduce herself.
Hi everybody, my name is Naila G. I am a Reiki practitioner, plant-based eater, conscious liver, and many other things.
Wow. All right. Conscious liver. And could you say what practitioner? I couldn't hear you. Let me make sure I can hear.
Reiki,
You say what?
Reiki
Reiki.
energy.
Reiki energy. Reiki energy. All right. So do you want to talk about that?
We can, yeah. There's so many things we could talk about.
There's so many things we could talk about. So enlighten me about the Reiki energy.
Okay, so Reiki energy healing it's really just a name for something that we all have the potential to do, but just some people may feel more called to do it, or they've always been in touch with sort of, I'm just speaking for myself, a certain healing ability with your hands and just being more sensitive to energy and stuff like that. So it took me a while to really figure out how I wanted to use this gift that we all have. And then I looked into Reiki, and it's basically getting in touch with source energy, universal energy, and allowing yourself to be a clear channel for that, and sending that to your client or even yourself. It's just, you could do it with your pets, your family, friends, whatever. Everything is vibrating in this world. Everything is energy. So we can always kind of shift the state of something energetically and the quality just by our intention and our thoughts. So I started doing that with other people in, I want to say like July of this year. I actually I made it like a public thing. And I was actually working at Earth Essentials doing that.
Okay. Yeah, and that's Earth Essentials. That's where I met you, right? That's Earth Essentials. And we had a great conversation about life and everything else that we'll get there. We'll get there. And okay, so let's talk about, like I said, the health. Well, I want to talk about health. How did you get into, we're both vegan, right? How did you get on that journey, the vegan journey? What made you go vegan, or did you grow up vegan?
So I grew up actually, my parents were pretty like health conscious. I ate mostly like organic, gluten-free and stuff, but I started to really reject that lifestyle as I got older, because it just, when I started to get into like processed food and stuff like that, of course it started, chemical addictions and stuff like that. So I just rejected all that. And it took for me to get really sick to turn everything around and to look for other options, because I wasn't aware of the holistic field at all. I was, of course, just like everybody else, did your regular, yearly checkups and physicals at your allopathic doctor. And, I started to come down with, colds all the time. My immune system was really weak. I had like chronic bronchitis. I was just coughing and couldn't breathe. It was just miserable. Like, I think I spent like 3 or 4 years, like just with a really weak immune system, to the point where people weren't even asking if I was like, "You're still sick?" It was just like normal.
Wow.
Yeah. So, they told me that I needed to get sinus surgery and keep taking antibiotics, which I had been taking rounds of those, and it wasn't doing anything. Of course, it was making me weaker because it was killing off all the good bacteria in my gut. So I was stuck with a really low defense system in my body. So those types of prescriptions are just given out without even a thought, and it's really sad, because then people, I was lucky but also not lucky, because I felt the effects immediately. But some people get into old age and their immune system is completely shot. Like, they can't defend themselves at all.
Right.
I was blessed to experience a quick awakening of my health. So you know, they told me I needed surgery and I needed to keep taking, they wanted to put me on steroids and all this stuff. And I was just like, at that point, I didn't know what else to do. I was like, okay. And I took a day to really think about it. And I was just like, but why? Why am I feeling like, what's the root of all this? Why am I so reactive to all these things? Is it food? Is it the environment? Is it allergies? Like, what is it? So I did allergy testing, found out I was really sensitive. I wouldn't call them allergies, but more like food sensitivities to like dairy, gluten and wheat. A lot of the things that we're all really sensitive to and that we shouldn't have a lot in our body. Especially dairy is a whole other subject. But it was crazy because the more I ate these things, the more my body responded to a bunch of other things, which really weren't inherently bad for our bodies, like cinnamon or string beans or potatoes, you know? So it just made eating that stuff really confused my body and didn't know right from wrong, good from bad. So what I had to do was, it took some time, of course, but I started to cut out. I didn't fast. I did fasting later. After I changed my diet, I got into that. And I actually just got done with a 2-day fast. Today is the last day. But I slowly cut out dairy. I was a big cheese person, ice cream. And I also, conveniently at that time, I had met this amazing woman who was vegan. And she really, really helped me. She really helped me to like, she told me, she's like, you know, there's other ways you can be, you don't have to do this and that. And I was just like, wow, like I never thought about that. And I was never a big meat eater anyway.
Wow.
So
Okay.
But yeah, it's amazing just how people come into your life. Some to like help guide you and some to show you what not to do. But she definitely helped me.
That's
she
pretty
definitely
cool.
did. I appreciate it.
That's cool. That's cool. She expanded your awareness. That's what I like to say. I like to put it in my podcast. Like, you are like the things that you are unaware of, just in a basic tense, you are completely unaware of them. But until you are aware of that, then it expands your world. It's just like you were blind or in the dark to what health actually was. Until she enlightened you, then you became aware. You know what I mean?
And not only that, it's like she was the second step. The first step was for me to feel the discomfort and the pain, you know, because a lot of people don't want to seek help or change their ways until they're really in pain. I was just reading this book and it was saying, which is so true, like humans, you know, they pray to God when they're in the worst situations. Then when they're good, they just forget about, you know, everything and just seek the material possession.
Right. So why is that? So why are we living in a world where the material things seems like what brings people happiness?
Because, well, first of all, it's programmed that way so that we don't get to look inside ourselves and see the real beauty and the real truth. Second of all, we're not taught to be mentally strong. So we just go with our temptations. We feel desire and we act on the impulse. This is not being strong. That's being weak. Unless you're aware of what you're doing and you're like, I'm going to do this, and you're aware of every second, okay. You know, it's like if I wanted to have, you know, ice cream a few days a week, when I know sugar doesn't really feel good for me, but I'm just like, okay. But there's people out here who literally operate in an animalistic way of being. And that makes for great persuasion across the masses.
So I like to say, how do you rewire yourself from your perspective?
First thing is you have to spend time alone.
I like that. Bingo.
You have to spend time alone.
Bingo.
You have to spend time in nature.
I love it. I love it. Yes. Tell them.
Yeah, you have to give space to give insight and perspective, because without that, you're too close. It's like when you're in an abusive relationship and you can't see what everyone else sees and you're stuck in it. Only until you give space do you see that things don't resonate anymore. And you really have to ask yourself, why am I still doing this? You know, what in me is pulled to keep doing this, whatever it is? And why am I doing this when I know I don't feel good doing it? You know, like for my case, eating and prioritizing how things tasted over my organs and their health and my consciousness at the end of the day.
Wow. So do you really think like people are aware of that? So if we stick to the topic of food, are aware of the certain things that taste good that are not good for them, but they continue to eat it?
I think it depends on the person. A lot of people are aware because they just hear of it, but they don't care. And that shows that they don't really respect themselves, but I'm not one to judge. I'm just saying it's a lot of people. I was there. Like, that's why I can speak on it, because I've been there and I know, like, but at the same time, like, I can't tell people vegan is the only way to go, plant-based is it. Like, everyone has a different configuration, a different, you know, thing that their body thrives on the best. Some people thrive on a lighter diet, and some people they feel more themselves when they're heavy. But that's just for the individual. But they have to do their own work to see, like, you have to ask yourself these questions, like, you know, what do I really want? How do I want to live?
Right. I love what you said too, and that's my solution. I always tell people they need to go within self and just basically process everything that you hear, everything that you see. And you have, in order to do that, you have to spend time alone. Some people call it meditating. Some people call it, you can call it, it's so many different ways to meditate. But I think it's very important for individuals to spend time alone. Because how do you know what your real thoughts are and what you really want?
You don't, and you need that contrast. The contrast is the space, you know, because when you're around all the stimulation, all the noise, the people, you know, the movies, the songs, it's all getting in your head. People don't realize how, you know, how transparent we are. We're really just vessels for information to flow through. So we really have to take space. To know what is ours. You know, we are all one, we're all connected, but we have to define ourselves not as an ego necessarily, but more as your unique self and know what's right for you. If you don't, you're going to keep just living how other people are living.
Right. I call it the loop or the hamster wheel. Just like going in a cycle and you don't even know, but it's just the same loop over and over and over and over again. Okay. All right. So we talk about healing with food, right? And you basically did that with yourself. So what about healing with nature? How do you heal with nature?
I mean, everyone lives in a different, like, ecosystem, you know. Some people live, like, right now I'm in a warmer, more tropical ecosystem, and I know that's what my body loves. Like, this is where I thrive, in the sun, with the water. This is my element. I know that about myself because I've done the work in the introspection. I feel so much better in this environment, not because I'm in California. I could be anywhere with this, you know, configuration as far as the weather goes. As far as healing with nature, wherever you at, just, you know, you can go to your local trail or lake, whatever, just get away from, you know, the streets and the noise. I suggest, really, I know it's uncomfortable for some people to be in silence, you know, people want to listen to music in nature or bring somebody along, but don't be afraid to go by yourself. Don't be afraid to go by yourself and just clear your mind. And what I like to do is, some people aren't really walkers, but I like to walk to clear my mind because it really feels like when I'm walking in nature, I'm walking in my mind. And I can kind of walk through this place inside. It's like I feel myself inside and outside when I do it.
Wow. Well, I like to say the world is your mirror because, I mean, that's what I like to see. I see the universe. That's you, inside of you. Everything that's inside of you is a reflection, You know what I mean? So I think that's a pretty dope analogy. And I think everything is cool because look, I had the questions that I had down was healing with nature, healing with food, and healing with science. I mean, silence. And you keep hitting that same thing of being alone. And I think that is so important. Why are people afraid to be alone? Or is that a question? Is that a thing for people to be afraid of themselves?
It is a thing, but it's not something to get stuck on. You know, people are like, it's an excuse. I'm afraid to be alone. Okay, but why? Can you go into that? Can you really look yourself in the mirror and like go deep inside yourself and really ask yourself these questions? Or are you just gonna keep using that excuse to keep doing the same stuff you've always done? I love being alone. I'm telling you right now. That's my favorite. I love doing things by myself.
Right.
And with other people. I love being social at times, but I have just this whole different experience when I'm alone. I always feel full with myself. I always feel, you know, you can do whatever you want to do on your own time.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, but being alone, people are afraid mostly because they keep running away from their mind and they're not ready to really turn their attention to their mind and see how they work, how is their nature, and detach from that. And when you detach from that, you can actually see it from a higher perspective to the point where you can, I don't like using the word control, but in a way you can control your actions, you can control your thoughts. I don't know what's a better word, but
I mean, I think the word would be aware of, because like you can manipulate, you know, certain actions, certain behavior, because you're aware of that behavior now, or you're aware of, you know, because certain things, just like you said, are just out of your control. We're vessels, emotions run through us. We're not the actual emotion, so it's not meant for us to hold on to things. So things are supposed to flow through, you know what I mean? So it's just being aware, I would say.
Yeah, there you go. It's just being aware. Awareness brings space and change if you allow it. You can be the force of change, because you're not your thoughts. You're not really your body, but you're inhabiting this body and you experience the thoughts. So we have to start defining ourselves in a different way, because a lot of people identify with their bodies, how they look. Yes, I love my body. I love how I look. I appreciate it.
Right.
But I'm going beyond that. Too.
Right.
So that's what I connect in with other people as well. I see the physical, but I connect with something deeper than that.
Really? Okay. So I wanna expound on that some more, right? And you're saying that you are not your body. And people might hear that and might like, what is she talking about? You are not your body. Now, I like to use sleeping, right? We all sleep, you know, and then you dream. Your body's still here, but you're conscious, you're totally conscious, but your body is asleep. You never go to sleep. So that's what you mean. If you can kind of connect the dots for people so they can understand what you mean, that you are not your body.
So yeah, like you were saying, when you dream or wherever your consciousness goes, we don't really know. Is it within? Is it without? We really don't know. But I mean, people have had really like amazing experiences in the dream world where it actually relates to their actual life, where they actually get information before it happens. So these phenomena are real. Before I was aware, I really looked at dreaming as just dreaming, and I didn't make the connection that, oh, I'm still conscious, I'm still aware. You know, we don't know what happens when we die, but we know that our consciousness, I feel like consciousness is what we are, and it's not made in our body. We inhabit the body. But the brain doesn't make consciousness. We are already conscious and always conscious. It's just about your awareness level to feel into that.
So the next question is, when did you start becoming aware, though?
I started becoming aware like my sophomore or junior year in college.
Really?
Yes. That was about like 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But it really started, it was my health mostly, but it also was, you know, experiencing pain and emotion and wondering, like, what are these things? And how do I, you know, it was really about building emotional intelligence for me. And from there, it started to go into meditation, mastering yourself, your emotions. And from there, it just opened up all of these channels for all these other things. You know, it's really infinite, the things you can learn once you're conscious, and things that you don't hold on to the knowledge, but, you know, there are things we're talking about today I haven't talked about or thought about in months, but they're always with me because I'm allowing that to come through me right now. You know what I mean? So
that's dope.
It feels like it's been a while.
Yeah, you're glowing in the California sun. Must feel good. It's pretty cold over here.
I heard there was like a snowstorm, or maybe that was like DC. I don't know.
Yeah, there was like a snowstorm up north, but it's just a little chilly. So, okay, so you became aware around the time where you was kind of going through your hardship. So you said, it was that actual pain that you were going through, or was it something that you saw, or something that enlightened you, something that you were reading?
It was, well, honestly, when I really think about it, my mom, she has always been more on the spiritual path. And she was always planting little seeds. And I always overlooked it. I've always been aware. When I think about it, especially as a child, I was very aware. I've always been very mature for my age. I've just always been here. But of course, when you get older, when you get into, you know, your teens and stuff, I feel like you just you can forget a lot of things, and it's necessary so you can remember it from a deeper level and you know, cultivate it into your adult life. But it was really my mom, just the little things she would say, or she was always doing, you know, yoga, meditation and stuff. I always overlooked it, but it took for me to feel pain in my life and start to just build that perspective of just asking more questions with it. For me to it just took for me to really be alone, to ask those questions and feel into something deeper than this reality that we live in.
Ha 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 ha. I like that. Okay. So you said this reality that we live in. Let me see if I can make sense of this question. So, like, okay, so I had to rephrase it because we went back. So when did you become aware of the true reality? Not just aware of self, but aware of the reality that's real. Not the jobs, the systems, you know, everything that we had a conversation about before.
Yeah, so it took some time because, of course, when you start to become aware of yourself, you're just focusing on yourself. And so you get all this other information, what people call conspiracy theories, but they're just theories, and a lot of them are true. Excuse the noise on the street, what was it?
You said you're talking about the conspiracy theories and being aware of self, and like being, like, I guess, having your attention on yourself and not being aware of what's around you until once you become aware of self, then you kind of decode life.
Then you can proceed outward a little more. So it probably was, I don't have a sense of time with this, but I know it was a little later, probably my senior year, junior or senior year. So 1 to 2 years later, for me to really be like, really start asking other questions.
So how would you guide, like, I'm not saying if you had a friend who was going through a journey and they just started going through this awakening process, what are steps that you would give somebody once they first start awakening and being aware of self, being aware of what environment actually is and what's going on around them? What would be some advice that you give them?
So you're saying once they're already aware of self and
Once they start like that, they start like the beginning part of the journey.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would say definitely start. I don't want to say everyone should journal because everyone has a different way of expressing and reflecting. But journaling has really helped me. You know, I don't make it into a routine like, oh, I have to journal, but like whenever I feel like it, I just write down, you know, things so they can kind of just exit my thoughts. That's a good way to release. I would say, you know, because it's not all spiritual and it's not all mental, it's also physical. We have to take care of our bodies. We have to move our bodies. We have to, it's really a trinity. It's the mental, the physical, and the spiritual.
It's a
and we have to take care of all of it. So definitely start getting active in whatever ways you feel comfortable. Read books. I have a lot of book recommendations. I can give you a list. Just start meditating. Listening to frequencies helped me a lot too. Spend time in nature.
Okay. I like that. Fasting. Boom. Boom.
Just, you could start out with like an intermittent fast, like 16 hours, which is like you stop eating. My numbers might be off, but like you stop eating around like 7 and your next meal's at like 12 or 1. Yeah. Which is what I do naturally every day. I don't have to think about it. Because when you're so dense with food, sometimes it's hard to connect with your higher self because you're really weighed down. And people don't realize it because they don't have the contrast of feeling light. But once you feel it, you'll start to be able to move around a little more within your consciousness. So
definitely. I like the answer of what you said, the Trinity. Is that what, the mind, body, and the soul, right? Is that it?
The soul, the mental, and the physical. So it goes from the least dense to the most dense. But I feel like the soul is, of course, the starting point, and it just trickles down like that into the reality we have today.
Right. So if you take care of that, once you're going through that journey and you learn how to take care of all three, of course, you take care of the body through through exercise, yoga, and different things like that. And you take care of, I think, the mind with the nature and the frequency and everything else. And I think in combination, doing it all, you take care of the soul.
It's ultimate health. It's ultimate health, and it takes but the thing is, the soul comes first because your energy, your willpower determines how much you stay in your power, which is taking care of your physical, taking care of your mental. And another thing also that is really overlooked is breath work. Before people get into meditation, because I know it's really hard.
You said breath work, like breathing? Okay. So what do you know about that? Or what can you teach us?
Wow, there's a whole chapter on breathing. So our breath gives us life, right? And it's really overlooked because it's a process that our body automatically does for us.
Right.
But most of the time, because we're thinking shallow thoughts, we're only breathing into our neck and the top of our chest, and we're not allowing our breath to go deep down into our diaphragm, and we're not aware of how our breath is connected to our energy. It's connected to our blood flow and our circulation. It all flows together. And it also is connected to our mental state. When you're breathing deeper, it's really hard to feel negative emotions. Like when you're really aware throughout the day, you bring awareness to your body instead of awareness in this other realm that you've created in your mind, all these scenarios and things. So your breath is really the first key to health. I'll say that. Like, you can eat all the things, all the healthy things, but if you're not breathing right, it's not gonna stay. So every day, here, I'll tell you something. Every day, I get up. Before I drink water, tea, or anything, I come sit out here, or wherever I was, I'd go sit outside, and I just breathe. there's so many exercises on YouTube, which like certain breathing regimens and patterns. I've gotten into those a little bit, but it really just takes for you. You gotta push out your stomach when you inhale and fill it up with air. When you exhale, you really push it all out, and you have to feel it out. So you're completely full and completely empty, and you don't leave room for anything to kind of linger. And that relates also to your mind, to the way you live your life. You don't let anything linger. Everything is full. Everything is clear. You're clear with yourself, everything you do. So that's what I do when I wake up.
That's dope. That's a pretty dope routine to go through. Okay. Like, so where'd you learn that, or was it just something that you got into?
Actually, I learned it on YouTube. There was someone who I really was keeping up with a lot, and he was really into breath work.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I learned a lot from him. So.
Okay, that's cool. So I want you to tell the people about, what you do with the recipes and the vegan lifestyle. I know you have a page. You can talk about it.
Mm-hmm. So I really just created that page for myself, but also others who are curious about the plant-based lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I started, I feel like that's right before vegan became a really big thing.
It is popular now, huh?
It's so popular.
That's crazy. Everywhere. Yeah.
But the reason I say plant-based, I prefer not to call myself vegan because I try to really keep, and I don't like calling it a diet either.
Me too. It's a
lifestyle.
It's my lifestyle. Yep. Right on cue.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Plant-based because I try not to eat processed foods. I try to really eat as close to the earth as possible, as close to the original natural state of something. So that's how you get the most information too from your food.
All right. So, okay. Let's rewind because we're getting to where I want to be. And I like to say your eyes are a portal, your mouth is a portal, and your ears are a portal, right? A portal for information. And like when I say that, people don't understand. When you talk about your mouth, yes. So explain. Can you explain from
how
your perspective? Yeah, about the information about food, how food is information.
Mm-hmm. So bringing it back to just the simplicity of how everything originates from potential energy, right? Mm-hmm. It's like manifesting. It comes from a thought first, into your will and into your reality and your actions. Food has information like DNA, right? DNA encodes information for things to continue on, to continue living, to reproduce, and for whatever it is, its own evolution. But we actually have the ability to alter our DNA expression, which is something that I think the science world is getting into now, called epigenetics.
Wow. Time out. Bruce Lipton. Are you reading his book?
Yeah, wow. I didn't read his book, but I'm aware of his work. Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually reading his book. Like I'm on the 3rd chapter right now.
Oh wow! I should read it.
It's so we're on the same wave. Just keep talking. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So, epigenetics, how your environment can actually influence your gene expression, the way you eat, the way you think, the way you live. Like 2 twins can have completely different outcomes.
Right.
Just because of the way that they carry themselves. Mm-hmm. But there's information everywhere. Right now I'm getting information through the sun. The sun is a portal as well. I'm getting information from
your skin is a portal.
It interacts with my skin and, melanin. Melanin is electromagnetic.
Yeah.
It pulls in the light, right? And it interacts with it and it changes form. But that's everything in our body is always learning from something. When you eat something, it's either going to absorb it and, integrate it into your body, or it's going to get rid of it as a toxin or something you don't need. So everything's information. And the base of information is consciousness. So when you eat something that's really pure and you're eating fruit and vegetables, make sure it's seeded, because the seeds have the genetic codes for it to be produced. It's like, why do we have seedless fruit? It has
Right.
no value in it, because the seed is really where the value comes from, and then the
Right.
fruit is born from that. Even though sometimes you don't eat the seed, the fruit is still a product of the seed.
Right. Right.
So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm into his work as well. The name of the book is The Biology of Belief. And it's basically talking about the epigenetics and how you're influenced by your environment. And that's basically what I try to explain to people. But my biggest thing is, I use the word is perception creates your reality. Whatever you perceive, you create. You know what I mean? So if you're not aware of your perception being kind of like, in a sense, manipulated, then you won't understand how to, in a sense, kind of create your reality. And that's when I think I asked you those questions about when did you become aware, and how much do you understand that about like creating your own reality?
How your perception creates your reality.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just like anything you focus on becomes real.
Yes.
And whatever you don't focus on, a lot of things can be slipped under. You know, you have to, when you have the awareness, it's like having an eye that goes all the way around 360. You're aware of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything being, projected onto you, and everything you're giving out. So, once you build that awareness and see the ways in which you keep hindering your awareness through certain thought patterns and habits,
Mm-hmm.
you'll start to be able to feel yourself as that clear vessel, and then you decide how you want to be, how you want your reality to be, and that is your perception. Keep your perception clear, like a blank slate, and everything you do, it's really about your intention. Like, what are you intending? It's not about the outcome or expectations of a certain outcome. It's just about your heart. Where's your heart at with it? Like right now on this podcast, my heart is right here. I'm really happy to be talking to you right now and sharing this information with everybody. Like, this is what I'm fully present, and that is when things come through. Things don't come through when you're in your head or you're focused on something else. You have to be present with every single thing you do.
Wow. So I believe my strategy to give people how to be fully present, because you hit it right on the head, it's some things that you mentioned before, is being able to sit alone, because the ability to focus on self is practicing. The more you can practice sitting in silence, the more you can practice being aware, the more you can practice actually living in the moment. You know what I mean? And actually just being, you know what I mean? Because if you're always doing something, you have the phone in your hand, you social media, you're doing this, your attention is everywhere. Your attention is everywhere. And it's very important. It's very important, especially nowadays, for people to sit still and to receive that information. Like right now, you're receiving that information from the sun because you're just sitting still and you're open to it. You know what I mean? So how do you open yourself up? If you can explain that to people.
It takes discipline. It's not easy, because going from a stimulated way of living to feeling into, nothing is hard, because you're like, something's missing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's missing. Actually, something was missing before when you were overstimulated, and that was your connection to yourself. And now you're like looking for yourself in other things, and you can't find it. The connection to yourself will be found in silence. It will be found in nature. It will be found with yourself. That's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
And until you find that, then you can go into the world feeling yourself in every moment, every interaction, instead of the other way around, where you feel yourself by, dealing with other people or doing certain things, because those things don't matter.
Wow.
They really don't.
I find it so funny, this whole conversation, because me, on my journey of just, I don't want to call it awakening, because I've always kind of been aware even since like that was way back, even when I was in college too, I started to see things a little differently. And sometimes I love being around people, but sometimes I just want to go take a walk by myself. I want to go walk in the woods, go walk a trail by myself, go sit near the water by myself so I can kind of collect my thoughts. And that feels so good. That feels so relaxing to me. And for some reason, I gain information or insight on things that I never had before.
Sometimes what it takes, see, like you were saying, like you enjoyed being around people, being social, and it takes for you to feel a cap at that. It's like you've reached your cap at that, so you're like going to the other extreme, and that's just being by yourself and being in nature. So sometimes it's easier for people who have a really busy lifestyle. They feel the need more to go into the silence, even though they don't know how to. But once they do, they feel so much better, because it's like that's the duality, and it's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can start to incorporate that silence and that, alone time into your world. So it's balanced that way. But some people just don't know how to do it because they're so stimulated. It'll feel so much better once you just trust. You'll be like, what is it? Like, what is so amazing about this? You'll just be like, I missed that and that, but you'll start to see that's just your mind kind of trying to pull you back to like old things. And you gotta just be patient with yourself and know that there's more to life than what you think.
I like that word of balance. Everything is balance. You got to balance. Everything in life is a spectrum. It's just like you mentioned before when you was going through your hardship of like being sad or not depressed or sick or whatever the case may be. And it's another side. Like through that other side is enlightenment, or what some people like to say, happiness, or whatever the case may be. Life is all a spectrum, and it's learning how to kind of like balance things out. Would you say?
Yeah, definitely. And it takes, like I said, there is pleasure in pain. Without the two come together, but it's not about seeking pleasure or feeling pain so you can seek pleasure. It's just about knowing these doorways, and the doorway always brings you back to the middle, which is just awareness. That's it. Every feeling we have, there's an opposite, and we can't keep seeking certain things because it kind of tips the scale, and it's only bound to go the other way at some point, and you can't be attached to these states of being. So that's why meditation is so important, and just being aware and putting your awareness into that identity of just being present. That's it. It's not about I have to be happy all the time, I have to be positive, love and light. Yes, that's great, that's beautiful, but that's just not realistic, because we live in a dualistic world, and we have to, be aware of both sides. And it's a blessing because I felt both sides in a lot of things. I have deep empathy for many states of being and emotional states, which allows me to be even a greater healer to myself and others. I had to experience certain things so that I could relate to people and know this world better. But I don't stay in any emotional state. I'm above that. I'm above my life.
Okay, so what should someone seek if they're not seeking pleasure or happiness, or what should a person seek?
It sounds kind of like cold, but it's a form of detachment. But it's connection. It's connection to the essence in all things, which people should seek. It doesn't come with an emotion. It's just consciousness. It's just being an observer. And there's happiness in that. There's a deep peace.
Okay.
So
That's deep.
my philosophy that I really try to focus on every single day, because it's something you always have to keep right there. You can never, that's why people are like, oh, you become enlightened or this. It's like you never stop anywhere. You have to keep up the work.
Right.
It gets easier because it becomes you, but you have to always just be aware of what you're doing. Like, that doesn't go away.
Right. Man, I want to hit rewind. You said some really good stuff. All right. So I have a little thing that I call the wrap up, right? I'll ask you like a few questions and you're going to fill in the blank. And we had a conversation about a few of these things. And the first thing is, health is what to you?
Health is wealth. I know it sounds corny, but it's true. Health is wealth. That's, I mean, you could be literally wealthy, like, you know, as far as money goes and material possessions. But if you're not healthy, you're not enjoying life. When you're healthy, everything, you're open, you're loving life. You want to, you know, you just have the energy to keep living and to keep your will strong for everything you want to do. Your will, I feel, is directly correlated with how you feel and your health in general. So.
And what I want to say about health is, everybody out there, you have the ability to manipulate your health in a good way. And if you, all you have to do is press rewind, everything that we talked about before, about your spirit, your mind, your body, and taking care of what you eat. That's how you take care of your health. Now, just a disclaimer. I just wanted to say that. So, all right. So love is what?
Love is, there's so many words. There's so many words. I want to say love is living. To live with love in your heart. For, you know, being aware of the moments that your mind is judging, that's not love. You know, living in love keeps your heart light, keeps your whole body and energy body light. It allows you to really see things for what they are. But at the same time, there's a balance to that, and that's like not naive and not looking past certain things. But you have to have love in your heart. You have to have that deep compassion for people and yourself. Like whoever is listening, take a moment when you meditate and just feel your heart. There's certain also exercises you can do in Qigong, or what people call Tai Chi. Start to open up your heart more. You can feel the energy moving through your body. Definitely look up. There's so many videos on YouTube, just Tai Chi exercises. I know a lot of people aren't into yoga. I'm not a big yoga person myself. Like I do certain things, stretches and stuff, but I definitely practice Tai Chi a lot more. It's easier on the body, and it brings a lot of awareness to your energy, because that's what matters.
Okay, last one is, consciousness is what?
Consciousness is truth.
Boom, that's it. I don't think you have to say anything else. Is that what consciousness is? Truth is definitely awareness of being aware, and we all have it. It's just turning that switch on, or just taking the blinders away. I don't know, whatever you want to put it, however you want to put it. You know, so consciousness. I really
don't have much to say about that. It's like, if you feel it, you do, and if you don't, just know you can. So just don't submit to your way of being right now. Just know that you could be so much better. You could feel so much better. You could be so much more aware, and just have so much, just enjoy your life more. Like, people out here are stuck.
Oh, people are stuck. So is it anywhere people can find you, or come find your stuff, or if they want to talk to you, email you, send you a message?
So, I'm on Instagram, Naila Bay. So it's my first name, Naila Beyy. I'm working on a Facebook page, and I'm actually going to start a YouTube channel soon. So
that's cool.
Just stay posted for that, but it'll be on my Instagram. So the links for all that.
Okay. Well, I missed one. I did miss one. The last one is usually Naila is who? Fill in the blank.
Naila is, well, I'll be very literal and just say the meaning of my name.
Okay, go ahead.
Because, you know, we are I think we should all really look into the meaning of our names. And if you don't resonate with your name, you can always change it. But my name means the attainer. So I don't identify with my name, but my name is a part of me. It's a part of it's like my favorite shirt. You know what I mean? It's just something that I love to wear.
Uh-huh.
So my name means the attainer in all things.
So, all right. So if you're not identified by your name, who are you then? If I would say that and put it in those contexts.
Okay. So I am that I am. I am consciousness. I am present. And I am whatever I choose to be in the moment. So,
okay. That's what's up. Well, I appreciate you coming. I'm going to do my little wrap up. Like I said, we all go through that roller coaster in life. Why not have a guide to elevate your mindset? Jim, out.